Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be doing something amazing. We're going to be using that discard that you've got to make something fantastic. And we're going to be making waffles. And this recipe is for a really large family or group of friends. So if you're going to start this off, you could do half this recipe and that would work for normal size families. So first of all, we're going to take that 4 cups of water and then we're going to place it in our mixing bowl. And that's getting ready for our next step, which is to add the 100 grams of our starter. Now here we're using the San Francisco starter, but it could be the Black Death or it could be the Welsh 900. Either one, it's the same recipe, just with different flour and different starter. So to give you a rundown, for the San Francisco 200, we'd use the San Francisco starter obviously, and unbleached bread flour. For the Welsh 900, we'd use the Welsh 900 starter, and of course then we'd use unbleached stone ground whole wheat flour. But we're only going to use half of it as that. We're going to use the other half as all-purpose or bread flour, again unbleached. And it's the same with the Black Death 400. We're going to use half unbleached dark rye flour and half all-purpose or bread flour. Whichever you use, you then mix it in with the water. After we've mixed in the starter, now it's time to add that flour. And just a reminder, this is the San Francisco 200, so we're using unbleached bread flour here. I'm just going to mix that into the water directly. And if you're using the Black Death 400, you're going to use 2 cups of unbleached dark rye flour and 2 cups of either all-purpose flour or bread flour. And it's the same with the Welsh 900. It'll be 2 cups of unbleached stone ground whole wheat flour and 2 cups of all-purpose flour or bread flour. And for that consistency, we're looking for a pancake-like batter, or slightly thicker. Each person likes it a little differently. And remember, sourdough is the way to practice your new hobby. So just give it a try and see what you or your children or family like. A good point to remember is it's okay if there's lumps or chunks in it. That actually adds to the flavor, just like you do get with pancakes. Don't worry about some lumps and bumps in there. And now we're going to add 4 tablespoons of pre-melted butter. And then 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now we do have some options there to make it more healthy, and that would be we could substitute honey or monk fruit for the sugar, and that would work spectacularly well, and our children absolutely love it. And for this supersized recipe, we're going to mix in 2 eggs as well. And again, we're going to mix that pancake-like batter and not worry about some lumps and bumps in there. And now it's time to add the baking soda and the baking powder. And to do that, we're just going to take 1 tablespoon of baking soda and place that into the mix. And then take 1 tablespoon of baking powder and do the same thing. Put it into the mix and then mix it in some more. And the way to do that with baking powder is to gently fold it in so we don't ruin the baking powder. Look how Alicia here folds the mix over itself in a gentle manner. And after you've done that for a few minutes, it should start to look a little bit like this. And at that point, you're ready to warm up your waffle maker and line it with your oil of choice. We're going to use olive oil here and just pour it straight into the waffle maker. And then we're going to move it around to cover the entire waffle maker with the oil. We're then going to wait for a few minutes to get your griddle or your waffle maker up to the correct temperature. On ours, it gives a little blue light to tell us that it's ready to go. And so when that's the case, we're going to open it up and we're going to fill up each waffle tray with just a little bit of the mix. And you don't want to fill it up too much because it's going to expand. And then Alicia closes the lid. And again, we're just going to wait a few minutes for the griddle to cook the waffles. And for us, our timer works great, even for sourdough waffles. It works fantastic. We get the little blue light, and when we open it up, we have amazing waffles to feed everybody. And for safety, we just use a fork and pry out the little edge, and then they come out wonderfully and go straight onto the plate there. And this recipe actually makes quite a few waffles. And then it's on to the usual procedure of adding butter and adding any other toppings that you want, and then feeding it to the family. And I must admit, these go down exceptionally well, and all of them are eaten all of the time. So it's really worth giving this recipe a try, and it's really a good way to use your discard, which is again the excess starter that you don't need and you don't want your starter to get too big. And so this is a great step in your sourdough journey if you're not quite ready to start baking loaves yet, but you want to try something that's delicious and works, and of course is enjoyed by everybody.